Amai Mask is one of the most tragic characters in One Punch Man. While on the surface he's a self-obsessed, egotistical idol, his case becomes a way to brutally show the world of One Punch Man. Amai Mask goes from someone to be bothered by, to someone you can't help but feel saddened for, to the point of pity. This is Amai Mask. Join me as we begin at a high point, literally on top of the world, the most popular hero, and follow me as we look into how he became the most hated hero in the series. Amai Mask first appears in chapter 25 during the Deep Sea King incident. The Class A rank 1 hero appears on TV, immediately giving us a sense of what he's about as he gives his take on the situation. He states he's only a hero when facing evil. Other times, he's an actor, model, singer, but he decides to say one thing. A hero must be tough, strong, beautiful, and be able to promptly and splendidly eradicate evil. Very simple introduction. You're basically meant to think Amai Mask is the poster child for the heroes, and by all definitions, he is. Amai Mask is then later contacted in regards to moving Saitama's rank. And he doesn't care one bit. He only wants to hero on Class A and higher because of social impact. Something he cares a lot for, and something they kinda just let him choose. Again, poster child. Then, after the Boros fight, he appears again, though this appearance is a bit different, as this time he wonders how the heroes can call a ruined city victory. He calls them all a disgrace, before stating he isn't Class S because he chooses to protect Class A. Also, losers can't move up. Amai Mask then approaches a group of captured monsters, eradicating them in a flash, stating they can't live because they're evil. Therefore, he quickly delivered justice. Interestingly enough, Geno states he has a hard heart. He deeply hates evil and rushes to destroy it. He questions why, implying there's a deep reason behind Amai Mask as a whole, and there definitely is. Though for now, Amai Mask comes off as a dickhead. Not only is he a poster child, but purposely staying a lower rank so he can pick and choose the heroes that meet his criteria. A criteria that I guess he just gets to pick because he's the most popular. At least he tolerates no evil and sticks true to what he first said about heroes. He's at least in it for a good reason. Amai Mask reappears when the Monster Association arc really gets going. As being a hero, well, he's joining them. But I guess the S-Class heroes are meeting without him. This was because he's intended to be backup, something that really upsets him. He insists that he will be going into the Monster Association himself. Though before the scene moves along, he takes a shot at Zombie Man. Why is he undying? It's creepy, saying maybe he's a monster. Amai Mask goes on to say that the heroes act like fools. They don't fulfill the responsibility that comes with strength. Tatsumaki tries to argue with him, but he goes on. They only became heroes because management ordered it. Otherwise, they'd all be dangerous freaks who can fight. Amai Mask argues he can use these talents efficiently, and upon objections he's ready to fight, telling us that he too is one of those dangerous freaks. This brings up an amazing point that is swept under the rug all the time. S-Class heroes are monsterly. Like Amai Mask states, they only became heroes because management ordered it. In other terms, because society allows these powerhouses to be seen as objects of hope, they can be monsters freely. This is a huge part of One Punch Man, that the lines between the S-Class heroes and monsters are pretty blurred. Disregarding appearances, these two groups are far more similar than anyone wants to ever admit. The manga backs this up greatly, it's a main point of it, as we get moments like chapter 89 that show this perfectly. Meeting Genus, Zombie Man speaks about Saitama breaking his limiter before heroes in general are spoken of. Zombie Man states that when monsters don't become actual monsters, the world calls them heroes, and Genus goes on to basically group heroes and monsters in the same category. The only difference is that they don't go through the same spontaneous mutation. There's even a moment later in the Monster Association that states it even clearer than this. They build up the idea that classes C through A are strong. They are the peak of an average person, but Class S itself is an anomaly. They are beings of strength that do not waver no matter the obstacle. The manga then literally states, The everyday world treats the top-ranking heroes like monsters. Yeah. All to say, what you are doesn't matter. Ultimately, what does matter is what society thinks of you in the world of One Punch Man. And all this sounds very off topic, but trust me, it's going to be very important for the rest of this video, so thank you for listening. Back to Amai Mask. The attack on the Monster Association kicks off and Amai Mask joins the forces, where he quickly encounters Super S, grabbing her whip. He expertly analyzes her power before he tells the other heroes to move on. He has a simple solution that he refuses to explain. Super S quickly takes to verbally harassing him, which he doesn't like. That is a death stare if I've ever seen one. She launches her minions at him, which he begins to take down. Though that's when the other heroes come back to surprise attack her, allowing Amai Mask to ruthlessly smash her head into the wall. The others coming back make him incredibly angry. They ignored his orders and interfered with justice. Funny enough, they all think he's crazy while he grows enraged, thinking he must punish evil. Yeah, I can't say it's a bad thing, but he's really obsessed with this beating evil thing. It's then Super S, her head still stuck in the wall, attacks and shoots a beam straight into Amai Mask's eye. Yet he shakes back, his face corrupted and his eye perfectly fine. He goes on to grab Super S and crush her head in his grip, stating death to all monsters. The weird face is explained as he was grazed, but he's clearly perfectly fine as if nothing happened, even though we've seen it happen, and somehow literally no one saw that. Later on, Super S survives, becoming excited as she recalls how Amai Mask crushed her. She thinks on that weird face we all saw, concluding, well, what we've probably already concluded. Amai Mask has to be a monster, specifically a mimicking monster type, all before stating that would be a huge scandal for the heroes. And she couldn't be more right. As I stated, the world could not care less about the hero's strength being monstrous like a monster. But the second they think they're actual monsters, it'll be over. And Amai Mask just appeared as such. This calls into question his strict morals about heroics and hatred of monsters, as they now somewhat read like him deflecting from his true self. Though, as you can assume, this is only just the beginning of his depths as a character. Amai Mask continues tearing through the Monster Association, showing a monster no mercy as he carries its decapitated head around to tell him about the place. Upon learning about the monster cells, he destroys them in an instant. Again, deep hatred for something he himself seems to be. He then jumps at the sight of a mirror, before realizing it's a mirror and of course admiring his glory. It's then a monster appears in the mirror, shattering it as he jumps back terrified. He falls to the floor, before saying, "This is the worst." He is Amai Mask, the perfect hero, beautiful, wise, brave, and the mightiest. But even he can't win this fight, because when he fights ugliness, he shakes and cannot move. What a guy. The monster absolutely destroys him, and with time he's beat down and saved by Tatsumaki's barrier. On the surface, he becomes insecure and thinks everyone is looking at him with pity. He thinks of ways to cover for his failure when another hero asks if he's alright. It makes him think of a memory of Blast, seemingly bringing him back to normal. He stands back up. The foundation to being cool is perseverance. And this gives us a subtle look into his mind, that under the ego and constant remarks of his own perfection, he desperately worries about how others look at him. It makes me go back to him deflecting. He hates monsters so much because he doesn't want others to look at him as one, which is interesting because, well, it looks like he might be a monster. Though, being heroic is still as important as ever to him. He kicks Black Luster and lectures him. His body is proof he's overcome limitations. He can't give in to weakness now. He's the same. He has once encountered difficulties but stood back up and moved forward. That's what heroes do. For the rest of the arc, he's in the background. He's absolutely destroyed by the ugly monster, like actually ripped to shreds, but we never even see him recover. Gotta say it, but nobody but a monster is standing up from this. Other than that, he's quick to try and kill Garo until he hears pleas of his humanity, but even after Garo flies off, he's still a bit upset. With this arc, Amai Mask has undergone a subtle shift. While revealed to be this all-perfect, egotistical, and frankly, well, hateable hero with an iron strong moral compass, in the Monster Association arc, this begins to change. While you have to note that his moral compass is still strong, he still really wants to eradicate evil, you also have to note that everything points to the fact that he is a monster. And with that, he's shown to be insanely insecure when it comes to what others think of him. At this moment, we can conclude that Amai Mask is a monster and he wants nobody to know of his mimicking secret. And this fear around that secret has led him to be insanely insecure about what others think of him. Though I have to say, heroics is what always brings him back. Like in that flashback with Blast. Remembering that, he immediately assumed his cool, he was chill. Being a good hero is what Amai Mask is about. No matter what happens to Amai Mask after this arc, you can now definitely say that being a hero is in his heart, a hero with no toleration for evil. Amai Mask reappears in the meeting following the Monster Association attack, where tons of random truths are revealed, but what really gets him is the fact Genos basically worships Saitama, leaving him with the thought of an ideal hero. This goes on to consume him, as even when addressing competition, or imitators as he states, he's watching footage of Saitama, a light in his eyes. Amai Mask's imitators then step to him, a fight brewing, and as they call him a fake, he simply states, "What if I become a monster right in front of your eyes?" Within moments they shake, Amai Mask calling it a fear response. He's on another level and they don't have that special something, not like he does. That special something is overwhelming strength. Amai Mask has come to greatly respect Saitama. Strange for someone with such a big ego, but I think it comes down to two things. One, Saitama has insane strength no matter what. Saitama has overwhelming strength that doesn't appear as monsterly. And two, is the fact that he never asks for credit for what he does. He's a hero for the sake of literally doing good. Soon enough in a new meeting, also with the whole new appearance, he proposes an ultimate hero to replenish trust in the Hero Association. Amai Mask gloats about his connections and how he'll use them for such a task. Yet in the background he has no idea McCoy, scheming to build himself up, has set everything up with Amai Mask. Everything he has, the connections, they're because of him. He states when the time comes, he'll use his identity to make a scandal. Then he'll be there for the taking. And damn, it kinda makes you feel bad for Amai Mask. Regardless, Amai Mask's plan commences as he makes contact with Saitama, inviting him for tea, where he orders for him. Rude. He goes on to explain pages of history to say monsters are the newest of humanity's enemies. The system to solve such a problem is heroes. They need to increase the amount of capable heroes and they need someone to lead them, a charismatic absolute hero. He's decided to turn Saitama into a superhero, and he asks him to trust and follow him. He brings Saitama to his place where he details a super thorough statistic-based plan for his heroics. He even has a person on hand for literally any need. All to say, he's kinda doing too much, and he's very overwhelming. This is reflected in Saitama. He doesn't care much. He's a hero for a hobby. This lighting a flame in Amai Mask's eye as he brings Saitama along on a walk. He states he wants to remove S-class heroes. What they need are heroes who live up to the public. They need an ideal hero, a great hope, one who can be seen with one's very own eyes. Again, one that isn't monstrous, just has insane strength and the will for heroics like Saitama. They do good cause it's good. Yet Saitama just says, why doesn't he become that himself? He's already very popular, right? This here is something Saitama constantly does. He states the obvious because he has no care for class, rank, or what the world thinks. He's a hero for fun. There's nothing else to it. And by all means, he's right. Amai Mask is already what he's trying to make. Though, we as a reader know, Amai Mask can't become this because he is a monster. Sure, Amai Mask could theoretically become this ideal hero, and sure, he honestly already is, society loves him, but society wouldn't allow for a textbook monster to fill such a role. And Amai Mask is painfully aware of this. saying he can't become that. He quickly changes the topic and brings Saitama to a carnival, revealing his name, Butte. I'm gonna keep it to Amai Mask for simplicity, but that's a pretty nice name. Amai Mask then goes on to give his origin story. He always had an inferiority complex due to his ugly appearance. Therefore, he lived a life of strict moral principles, intending to do good even if he didn't look good. He quickly became a hero and wore a mask while doing so. He refused to show his face and even tell his name. He went as far as stealing and destroying his own hero application to conceal his identity. He had chosen the name Secret Mask, and as he became more popular, his fear of being discovered grew greater. But strangely, in response he grew stronger. Yet one day his mask was broken. But when this moment of fear happened, everyone cheered. He looked down to a puddle. Before him was a different person, and what had happened was obvious. He had become a monster. Yeah, he outright states it. He had monsterized, which it makes a lot of sense with what he tells us. In One Punch Man, monsterization appears as a byproduct of negative feelings. And more often than not, what they become is a reflection of those feelings. If Amai Mask didn't want anybody to see what he looked like, and was very terrified at the idea of someone seeing what he looked like, and this said insecurity made him into a monster, then it's not crazy that he becomes a monster that mimics the beauty standards for humans. Hence why he is referred to as a mimetic type. He's a mimic. This also offers a cool explanation as to why he changes his look so much, like how does he go from blue to black hair. Again, this does honestly make me and probably you feel bad for Amai Mask. He wanted to do nothing but good, but his insecurity turned him into something the world would consider the furthest thing from good. It's tragic. Amai Mask goes on to explain that this beauty greatly contributed to his heroics. He had learned beauty clouds judgment, and as of today, nobody has ever seen the real him. He then reveals he can feel the monsterization affecting his mind. Maybe killing monsters was the only way he stayed on humanity's side. Notably, he states that in a situation where he can only save one side, he'll pick the one with less casualties, without hesitation, saying that even if he struggles, even if he's a monster, he can still weigh and choose the right consequence. I think that's a pretty damn heroic thing. Though he then worries that he'll soon no longer be able to understand what being human is, and that he would like someone to inherit his ideals while he still is human. That person being Saitama. Saitama then states the obvious yet again. He refuses before saying Amai Mask's plan sounds like a puppet. The ideal hero wouldn't care for another's opinion. It's about what you are, not how you are seen. They're all humans after all. These pages write Amai Mask perfectly. As I've said, the One Punch Man world doesn't care what you are, just what you appear as. Amai Mask has shown that he is this idea in a person to a T, trying to get Saitama to conform to all these standards so he can be the quote, ideal hero. Yet under all that, it appears that without a doubt, Amai Mask is his own ideal hero. His character represents the One Punch Man world at large. That nobody can recognize the ideal hero even if it's literally right in front of them. In Amai Mask's case, even if it's literally himself. Saitama rushes away as Amai Mask notices a monster invading the carnival, jumping down to immediately deliver justice. The monster stands back up. Even when Amai Mask strikes him down again, he rises. This clown monster then recognizes him, airing out the fact that it's Amai Mask and leading a crowd to form. Even when Amai Mask makes it clear that this is a very real fight, the people stay. Amai Mask is then attacked and loses his glasses. His fans go crazy to grab them as he's forced to defend them, delivering several heavy intense strikes to the monster and intending to finish this quick, yet being stopped instantly. This monster grows stronger with the tension, and everyone crowding and streaming Amai Mask, there's a lot of attention, making this the worst matchup for our hero. Amai Mask is beaten down as the monster only grows stronger, him estimating it to be threat level dragon. As he's rocked, he realizes he just can't win with this body. Amai Mask is then thrown into the Ferris wheel, looking down at the crowd as he realizes he couldn't expose his identity. Not now. The Ferris wheel then begins to fall, threatening the lives of 100. Frozen in fear, he recalls Saitama's words. Isn't it about what you are rather than how you'll be seen? They're only humans after all. And in a second, he makes the choice to stop it. He's reverted to his monstrous transformation to save everyone. From the smoke, the crowd cheer for him, Amai Mask next stopping the monster and sending him back in an instant. Yet he now looks to the crowd, the cheers stopping as he appears completely monsterized. They all scream and shudder in fear. Amai Mask is unable to go back to mimicking. He realizes that his human consciousness might fade away. Far away, we then watch Saitama. He's caught the broadcast live on the biggest screen possible. Amai Mask has been exposed as a monster. The whole world now knows his truth. And even though this truth was exposed to fight a dragon level threat, no such mention is made. They only care about what he looks like, not what he is. Saitama then dashes to the sky in an instant. The clown monster grows in strength. Amai Mask being exposed only put more eyes on the situation. Yet even if he can't be seen as a hero, Amai Mask can still act as one. He pushes through the monster's jaws, smashing its skull in, before finally pulverizing it. The crowd watches in awe. Some try to rationalize it as an imposter, yet the truth couldn't be clearer that the being in front of them is Amai Mask. They then begin to throw rocks, but Saitama catches them. In front of the crowd, he lowers his arm and looks to Amai Mask. He was really cool. Amai Mask looks down. He tells Saitama to kill him. He can become famous overnight. It would be an honor to witness the birth of the ideal hero. He goes on to say it's too late for him, but it's clear that he still doesn't get it. An ideal hero wouldn't strike him down for his appearance. He had saved the crowd from the clown. That counts for everything. The people around are only okay because of his heroic choices. Choices that his appearance had no hand in. Saitama bumps his chest, but he's just getting started. It's only going to get more and more interesting. Amai Mask smashes his hand atop Saitama, stating he'll crush him if he doesn't fight back. But Saitama tells him to hold on tight, jumping to the sky and disappearing. All we hear from there is Saitama simply saying, "You go and become that ideal hero of yours." Everything you would assume happens, then happens. Amai Mask is blasted by the world of One Punch Man for being a monster. What he did is barely mentioned and scrapped under the rug. They couldn't care less about his character or the fact that he was doing good, just what that character appears as. Though as a final note, I want to visit what Metal Bat says about the situation. He states he doesn't know if he was a monster or not, but if he's not doing anything bad as a hero, there's no need to run, right? Don't run away. If he's a man, come out with his head held high. Metal Bat leaves off by stating that was just what he thought. Even if the two of them didn't get along, his sister was very happy to get his autograph. Metal Bat can tell Amai Mask is a good person. What he does should define him, not what he looks like. At the current moment, Amai Mask is being hunted down by Blue, #1 hero Blast's son, intending to use Amai Mask's monsterization as a media tactic to make the Neo heroes sound better. Which again, sadly nobody cares about what Amai Mask did, just what he's become. He's ultimately stopped by Genos, who tells him that this has nothing to do with the Hero Association nor the Neo heroes. It's a personal matter between the two, and therefore he is no part of it. Blue considers this corrupt, showing that the #1 hero's son, someone you would expect to understand this, doesn't even know what a real hero looks like. Amai Mask is a person whose insecurities controlled everything in his life, to the point where these very insecurities made him into a monster. At his core, he's a person who wants to do good despite his shortcomings. He preaches beauty, greatness, and of course, justice. Yet when it comes to his turn to, get those things preached to him, society and everyone turn their backs on him. Everything he had ever done, the countless heroic acts, his idol shows, his status as the #1 hero, beater of evil, was invalid now, all because he looked monstrous. Amai Mask has always been about justice. It's shown constantly through the series with how he's the quickest to defeat evil. And it's been this way since he first began as a hero, though with a strong sense of justice he carried heavy burdens. Amai Mask was seriously insecure, so much to the point where these feelings resulted in monsterization. Regardless, this monsterization brought him the face he always wanted alongside newfound strength. And you know what? I just had to say it, he used that strength and those looks to do good. But even then, deep down, he was painfully aware of how society functions. No matter what, if Amai Mask tears away the mask, he will be seen as a monster. His devotion to appearing as a hero, a symbol of justice, will disappear in an instant. By his own definitions, he had become his ideal hero. Still, the truth ruins him and leads him to fear and even more insecurity. The worst part is, he proves that this insecurity is right. When he's forced to reveal himself to save hundreds of people, he's seen as a monster, exactly as he thought. He's screamed at and ostracized for being a textbook monster. He's reported as such, no care for the good he just did. Who cares if he was Amai Mask who saved them countless times? He now looks like a monster. He's a monster to them now. But remember, Saitama was there for him from the start, saying it straight up. It's about what you are, not how you are seen. A hero doesn't need to fit to these people's standards to be a hero. You do good because it's good. Hell, Saitama literally does it as a hobby. All this to say, Amai Mask proves that society sucks, but he also proves that what makes you evil is ultimately your actions. Just because he's a textbook monster doesn't mean he's an evil monster. While society might call him such, the realest hero of all, Saitama, sees him as any other person. And I think that's all that needs to be said. Amai Mask is the character that shows us the truth of the One Punch Man world in the most heartbreaking way possible. As we learn his layers, his tale goes from one of annoying ego to one of fragility. A character you can't help but want to root for. While I think none of us expected this at first, I now hope his character becomes one of comebacks and breaking societal molds in the world of One Punch Man. And honestly, who could disagree with that? Thank you so much for watching, and let me know, what do you think of Amai Mask?